I have come to a really important realization that's brought revolution to my life, and it's this. Realizing that our world, our culture wants us to stay busy, right? You know it. You have the thing that you need to do right after you watch this video. But there are certain things that we need to stay more busy doing. And the one revolutionary thing that I have realized is that I need to stay busy in prayer, because prayer is essential. That's the revolution. And I know that that does not sound revolutionary at all. I mean, come on. We talk about prayer all the time. We talk about how it's this thing that we need to do to meet with God and how he hears our prayers. We know all these things, right? But a quote that really changed my perspective on this is one by Charlie Dates, which says, prayer is not a passive resignation, but a potent revolution. It's revolutionary. And there's a story in the Bible that I want to kind of share with you, and it's really short. It's from Daniel. And we all know the story of Daniel. And if you don't, he's a guy who lived in exile in the Bible. It was 70 years after his country had been taken over. He's living under the rule of a tyrant king. And there's a verse that talks about right before he comes to this huge visionary, revolutionary point in his life. It talks about how in the time of evening sacrifice, I was praying. Now, that doesn't sound like anything revolutionary until you realize that Daniel has been living in another country where there's no temple for him to pray at. The temple that he used to pray at was destroyed 70 years ago whenever this tyrant king came in and took over his country. So Daniel has been practicing this in the time of evening sacrifice for 70 years without a temple, without anybody telling him, you need to do this, you need to do that. I feel like prayer sometimes feels like a chore to us. We feel like we have to get after it and like pray these huge prayers whenever the Lord is, like my friend Mike Donahue says, he says, I am not counting on you, I'm inviting you. God is inviting us into prayer. And one of the songs that we get to do that helps me be invited into this moment with God is the song Overall I Know. Because God's not only inviting us just to pray, to give our requests to him, he's inviting us to know him beyond any other point about prayer. Whether God answers any of my prayers, I know that the one thing that he really wants is for me to be more in tune with him, for me to get to know him. And he has given us prayer as a means to do that. I want to share one more quote, and it just says, you are living in the days that you prayed for. That rocked my world when I heard it the first time. And I know that the song Overall I Know helps me to remember that God is the God that he says that he is, that he's over every single thing. And that when I come to him in prayer, it's not resignation. It's not, this is the last thing I can do, God. This is the last thing that I need to do. This is the first thing that I want to do. I want to stay busy in prayer. And songs like Overall I Know help me to do that. So be encouraged. Prayer is not something that you do as a last resort. It's something that we need to keep busy doing all the time. And we can because God is good.